Warren Buffett is one of the richest people who has ever lived. For decades, his name has appeared near the top of global wealth rankings. His decisions move markets. His words are quoted by presidents, CEOs, and investors around the world. And yet, every morning, Warren Buffett wakes up in the same modest house he bought in 1958. It's not a mansion. There are no gates, no guards, no marble halls, just a simple home in Omaha, Nebraska. When people first hear this, they assume it's a myth or a clever public image. Surely someone worth tens of billions of dollars must live somewhere grander. But it's true, and the reason has nothing to do with money. To understand why Warren Buffett never left that house, you have to go back long before the billions. Back to a quiet boy who learned very early that wealth and happiness were not the same thing. Buffett grew up during the Great Depression. Money was not abundant. Security was fragile. Those years shaped him more than any finance book ever could. As a child, Warren was obsessed with numbers. He memorized stock prices the way other children memorized baseball scores. But what fascinated him wasn't luxury, it was independence. He wanted control over his time, over his choices, over his life. By his early teens, he was already running small businesses, delivering newspapers, selling golf balls, and investing his savings. Every dollar had a purpose. Every decision had a long horizon. Even then, Warren noticed something important. People who chased status were rarely satisfied. People who chased stability slept better. Years later, when success arrived faster than he ever expected, he faced a decision that most people never question. Should life become bigger or simpler? He chose simpler. That small house in Omaha was not a limitation. It was an anchor. While others upgraded their lives with every new success, Buffett did something unusual. He stayed exactly where he was, and that choice would quietly protect him from something far more dangerous than poverty. See, Buffett understood a concept that many of us miss: lifestyle inflation. It's the natural tendency to increase your spending as your income grows. You get a raise, you get a bigger apartment, you get a promotion, you lease a fancier car. Soon, your expenses match your new income, and you're no more financially free than you were before. You're just running on a more expensive treadmill. Buffett saw this trap early on. He knew that if his lifestyle grew with his fortune, he would never feel truly independent. The more he owned, the more his possessions would own him. The maintenance, the staff, the security, it all adds complexity. It adds mental overhead. It distracts from what truly matters. His home in Omaha became a symbol of his discipline. It was a physical reminder that his goal wasn't to live like a king, but to think like one. To have the freedom to make decisions without being influenced by the need to maintain a certain image. This philosophy extended to everything. He famously drives his own car, eats simple meals, and avoids the lavish parties of the ultra-rich. He's not cheap, he's just intentional. He allocates his biggest resource, his money, toward what he values most, compounding it for his shareholders and, eventually, for philanthropy. He has pledged to give away more than 99% of his wealth. A task that requires immense focus, a focus that would be impossible if he were busy managing a dozen estates. In a world that constantly tells us to want more, to show off more, to be more, Buffett's story is a powerful counter-narrative. It suggests that true wealth isn't about what you can buy, it's about what you don't need to buy. It's the freedom from wanting more. By keeping his life simple, he kept his mind clear. He protected his time, his most valuable asset. The house isn't a sign of sacrifice, it's a sign of intelligence. It's the ultimate power move. It says, I have all the money in the world, and I choose this, because this is all I need to be happy. So the next time you see a picture of that unassuming house in Nebraska, don't see it as the home of a billionaire. See it as the headquarters of a philosopher who mastered the game of money by realizing it was never about the money at all. As Warren Buffett's fortune grew, something really unusual happened. Absolutely nothing else did. His daily routine barely changed a bit. He still drove himself to work every day. He still ate breakfast at the same local spots. Sometimes it was just a simple sandwich. Other times, it was fast food. He didn't do this because he had to. He did it because he wanted to. Buffett never believed that money should completely redesign your life. Instead, he believed it should support it. To live a truly rich life, he once said, you must already know what enough looks like. Now, for most of us, that idea of enough is a constantly moving target. We want a bigger house, a better car, a higher status. But Buffett saw a dangerous trap in that kind of thinking. Every single upgrade just creates a new baseline for what we consider normal. Every new luxury we add quietly demands more of our attention, more of our worry, and more of our time. And time, to Buffett, was the most valuable asset of all. It's the one thing you can't buy more of. He watched friends become prisoners of their own success. They were stuck maintaining lifestyles they no longer even enjoyed, trapped by expectations that they never really chose for themselves. Think about it. Bigger houses mean bigger responsibilities. Higher status means you have to constantly perform for others. Buffett wanted none of that. The house he bought in Omaha back in 1958 gave him something truly priceless: mental freedom. It was close to his office. It was close to his routines. It was close to the life he knew and understood. There were no fancy distractions pretending to be rewards. This incredible simplicity allowed him to think with absolute clarity. While other investors chased short-term wins and quick profits, Buffett focused on patience. While the markets panicked and everyone was selling, he stayed calm. While trends came and went, he stayed completely still. His wealth grew not because he was constantly chasing more, but because he refused to complicate what already worked for him. People often ask him, "Warren, with all your money, why don't you upgrade your life?" Buffett just answers with a quiet smile. He says, "Why would I trade something I love for something I don't need?" That simple mindset didn't just shape his lifestyle, it shaped his entire legacy. Because when you remove all the excess from your life, something really important happens. You gain space. You get space for better judgment, for a clearer perspective, and for a deeper sense of purpose. And Warren Buffett was about to use that space in a way that would surprise the entire world. He proved that true wealth isn't about what you can buy, but what you can't be bought by. It's about having the freedom to live on your own terms, not the terms society sets for you. His story reminds us that the richest person isn't the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. It's a powerful lesson in a world that's always telling us to want more. Maybe the real secret to a rich life is knowing when you already have everything you need. By the turn of the millennium, Warren Buffett wasn't just another rich guy. He was one of the wealthiest people on the entire planet. We're not talking millions anymore. His net worth was counted in the tens of billions. Every financial news outlet watched his every move. Aspiring investors treated his annual letters like sacred texts. Even governments would stop and listen when he had something to say. But something interesting happened. As his fortune grew to unimaginable heights, Buffett started thinking less about money, not more. He wasn't consumed with how to make another billion. Instead, he was thinking about what would happen to all that money when he was gone. He never wanted to create a Buffett dynasty. He didn't want his children to be known for their inheritance, rather than their own character and achievements. He famously said, "I want my children to have enough to do anything, but not so much that they do nothing." Then, in 2006, Buffett did something that sent shockwaves around the globe. He announced he would give away more than 99% of his entire fortune. And here's the real kicker. Not after he was gone, not at some vague point in the future, but starting right then, during his lifetime. The bulk of it was pledged to charitable foundations, run by people he knew and trusted to make smart, long-term decisions. The money would go towards things like education, global health initiatives, and fighting poverty. These are the kinds of causes that don't always grab flashy headlines, but they quietly and profoundly change millions of lives for the better. Naturally, reporters all asked the same question: why? Why give it all away when you could keep it? Why live so modestly in your Omaha home when you could afford literally anything money can buy? Buffett's answer was refreshingly simple. He said, "Money has no value to me, beyond what it can help accomplish." Suddenly, that famous, unassuming house in Omaha made perfect sense to everyone. It was never really about being frugal or cheap. It was about having clarity. Buffett understood a fundamental truth that many of us spend our whole lives missing. Money is just a tool. It's not the final score. Piling it up endlessly doesn't automatically make your life meaningful, but using it wisely, directing it towards a purpose, absolutely can. By choosing a life of simplicity for himself, Buffett protected his greatest asset, his ability to think clearly and act with immense generosity. While the world was busy debating his monumental decision, what did he do? He went home, to that same street in Omaha, through the same front door, to enjoy the same quiet evenings he always had. Because for him, nothing fundamental about who he was had changed, and perhaps that unwavering consistency, that commitment to his own values, was the greatest investment he ever made. Did you know Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on the planet, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for about $31,000. It's a modest, 5-bedroom home in Omaha, Nebraska. While the world around him races toward bigger, faster, and louder, his life remains intentionally small, not limited, not outdated, but carefully designed. He wakes up without any grand ceremony. He reads for hours, sometimes 5 or 6 a day. He thinks deeply. He laughs easily. He chooses to spend his time with people he genuinely enjoys and ignores nearly everything else. There's no urgency to impress anyone, no desperate hunger for recognition. This simple life isn't an accident, it's a strategy. Buffett once said something that quietly explains everything. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Now, when you hear that, you might think of expensive courses or fancy degrees. But for him, that investment wasn't about acquiring more things or skills. It was about acquiring something far more valuable: freedom. Specifically, freedom from excess, freedom from the soul-crushing habit of comparing himself to others, and freedom from the endless, exhausting pursuit of more. That house in Omaha represents more than just modesty. It's a powerful symbol of his refusal to let wealth rewrite his personal values, to let success dictate his identity. Think about it. While so many people chase money hoping it will completely change their lives, Buffett did the opposite. He used his money to protect the life he already had, the life he already wanted. It was a shield, not a sword. This deliberate choice allowed him to stay grounded, to think clearly, and to give generously. It allowed him to remain himself in a world that constantly rewards transformation over truth. He didn't measure his success by the square footage of his home, or by the roar of public admiration, or by how far he could distance himself from ordinary life. He measured it by something much quieter, much deeper: peace of mind. And that, right there, might be the most valuable lesson of all. Because in the end, the real question isn't about how much we accumulate in our bank accounts or garages. It's about how well our lives still fit us when we get there. Does your life still feel like your own? Or has it become a costume you wear for others? This story isn't just about a billionaire who lives a simple life. It's the story of a man who understood a profound truth. A meaningful life is unbuilt by constantly upgrading everything around you. It's built by choosing carefully and holding on tightly to what truly matters. It's about designing a life that brings you peace, not just a bigger price tag. So, take a look around your own life. What are the things you're chasing? And more importantly, why are you chasing them? Maybe the ultimate luxury isn't owning more, but needing less. Thanks so much for watching. If this idea resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories that challenge the way we think about success and happiness.